What are you doing? Why aren't you a member of the Goosh, our Patreon, yet? Come on over there. We'll be waiting for you.
Okay, guys, well, as I think about it, I don't think it's so much my biggest fear in the respect that I don't like to live afraid of anything. Just because I think if you spend too much time being afraid of shit, you just miss out on too many cool things in life. So I don't think I live afraid or am willing to live afraid of anything. Let's call it my biggest concern. Now, as you guys know, I spent a lot of my life getting the shit kicked out of me, getting beat about the head and everything, and between the wrestling, you know, all the chair shots and stainless steel sinks and boards that were broken over my head, and what a lot of you don't know is prior to that, I had an amateur boxing career. I got punched in the face a lot there. More so in, you know, at least in the ring, in the amateurs, you had to have headgear on and everything, but when we were training, it was like all bets were off. And of course, because I was a teenager at the time and indestructible, I was like, I don't wear headgear. That's for bitches. And, you know, put in future vegetables. So I didn't wear headgear. I also fought in these like underground style fights that were kind of brutal as well. And I've been hit in the head a real lot. And I've had a bunch of concussions. So what happened was, while I was in the midst of my wrestling career, I realized something was going wrong because I started having issues like if I would watch my ceiling fan, I would get nauseous. Or, of all things, if a train goes by, and trains went by a lot when I lived in New York, if I watched the train, I'd get sick. So motion was making me sick. I was having memory issues. And then one day I'd gone to this mall. There's a Rotterdam Square Mall. And I'd been there, probably 10,000 times in my life. Oh, God knows I'm sitting outside. That's thunder. I'm about to get hit by lightning. He's like, him and I have this thing. So anyway, I went to the mall this one day. I come out, I sat down in my car, and I realized, I don't know how to get home. And I just sat there with a complete blank. And I think I had my cell phone on me at the time. I was in the early days of having a cell phone. But I just couldn't put anything together. And as I sat there slowly, very slowly, things started to come back to me, and I started driving down the road, and I was, I think it's this way, and eventually I found my way home. So that was an indicator that maybe I should just, maybe I should see a doctor about it. Well, long story short, I didn't go to the doctor until I got injured again in the ring, and I was in the emergency room and told the doctor there about it. And basically he asked me a bunch of questions, explained to me the three different levels of concussion, and asked me how many of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 I've had. It was a pretty impressive list, I must admit. In my life, I have eaten concussions like candy, and I'm a fat kid, so it's been a lot of candy and a lot of concussions. So he said with what I was experiencing and what I had been through, he said, you have post-concussion syndrome. He said, we'll do some tests. I said, oh, really? To verify, I said, well, what do we do, you know, if it comes back positive and I have it? He said, well, there's nothing you can do. You'll just know you got it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not coming back for a bunch of tests. He said, yeah, you got it, dude. And that's when they told me it would affect my short-term memory, but not my long-term memory, which I thought was stupid at the time, but turned out to be 100% accurate. So that leads to this biggest concern I have. We know that now, right now, the day-to-day I live with is just that real bad short-term memory. The nausea with motion and stuff has pretty much subsided. But with what they're learning about CTE and everything, I do have a concern that someday I could just wake up and not really wake up all the way. You know, I could just end up being a plant in the corner that gets watered every so often and patted on my bald little head and everything. And that's my concern. And not because I'm afraid of it, for me, because I don't want my family to deal with that. And if that day ever comes where I'm just a veg or close to being a veg, which is a possibility, I'm not a religious person. I don't have any ties to, you know, the next life or beliefs about the next life. I just don't want to be here anymore. And it wouldn't even be it's not a sad thing for me. I never thought I was gonna I never thought I was going to live forever. Never had that impression at all. So if I ever got to that point, I just want to be done with it and be gone, and that's cool. I don't want people to have to put up with. It's bad enough putting up with me now when I am somewhat cognizant. Can you imagine putting up with me as just the total veg, or as that issue just starts making me mean-er and nasty? I even have a lot of our group right here. Excuse me, our communities here online. You know, at Spaz Boys and the Goosh. I've given a heads up to some of my closest friends here on things to watch for me and remind me of if they see it in me. And a lot of times it's just lashing out or, you know, over the top aggravation. And a couple times people have noticed stuff, but then they realize, oh no, because there are certain things that tweak me anyway. So that had nothing to do with getting hit in the head with chairs. That's just because I can be an asshole. I'm pretty good at it too. That'll be another video. I'll tell you about the things that pissed me off the most. Just happened the other day. I just reamed somebody a new one because of something they did. And it could easily be seen as, oh, that's all those clunks to the head. It's not going to be long until, you know, he's chewing on the pavement. No, that's always been the way. That's my concern, is that someday I'm just not going to be able to do anything but the old sit and rock and roll, like, hey, ooh, you know, that type of thing. I know some of you are saying, well, it's basically what you do now, Curtis. We watch your videos. Right. But at least I want to be in control of it. Now, the question is, do I regret any of it? If that happened to me tomorrow, would I regret my years in wrestling, my years in boxing, my years in street fights? Nope. Nope. I am not one of these people that, like you see with a lot of ex-professional football players who deal with these lingering issues from head trauma. They seem surprised by the fact it happened to them. Now, one time, was I getting a metal folding chair cracked over my head, or getting dropped on my head, or getting punched in the face and the jaw? Now, one time did I think, yeah, that probably won't have any long-lasting effect. Getting hit in the head can't possibly affect me later. So no, I made those decisions, and I'll live with the ramifications, the repercussions, the repercussions of the concussions. Sounds like a song. I think I'm going to write it later. But that's it. That's my biggest fear. So if it happens, you guys feel free to make fun of me for it. You know, even if Spaz Kid comes to make the video telling you guys that I won't be able to do the videos, or at least the same type of videos, now the videos are of me, going to be just of me doing things like rediscovering my penis and stuff like that. Feel free to make fun of me. I think that would only be appropriate if it happened, but I just like talking with you guys about different things. And so that's my biggest, again, I don't want to say fear, because I won't allow something to let me live in fear. The only thing I could live in fear of is if something bad were potentially going to happen to my family. Nothing to me personally could make me live in fear. But what are you guys' biggest fears or concerns? What is it that most shakes you up? It just, sometimes talking about it helps. Let me know in the comment section. Yeah, I'd be interested to read. That was me with the switch going on. It happened right here, because that would be the funny end of the video. Okay.